Welcome back, everybody. So guys, I wanted to keep you all updated with this current champion training tournament. I said that I was going for the Archer, and I still am going for the Archer. Second place, let's see what they're currently looking at. Are they moving up? I saw some players yesterday say, actually a few days ago say, oh, you're at 75,000 points. Nobody's going to wake up and even think about pushing to that. Well, that's not necessarily true because plenty of people wait until the very last moment to actually push. Now, looking at my bracket, I'm at 99,000. I'm actually going to push to about 100,000 here very soon. Actually, probably during this video, to be honest. I do want to give you guys a few options for Nightmare Campaign farmers, which, if you want to see that, stay tuned for a little bit longer. And I'm going to show you guys kind of my strategy when it comes to Nightmare versus Brutal. But second place right now is at 21,000 points. Are they going to push? Most likely not. Most likely they're going for this second place 2 Immortal Soulstones, but people can burst 60,000 plus points in a matter of minutes if you have a lot of legendary books. Now, you also have a lot of legendary champions to book, so it's not very likely to happen, but since I have some champions and I have some time, I'm going to continue to push my points up a little bit. At this point, I feel pretty safe. We got 36 hours left of the tournament. I do plan to be awake during the last few minutes and the last few hours of the tournament and actually streaming over on YouTube and Twitch just before the tournament ends. So I guess it's going to be like 4 a.m. Probably go live about 3 a.m. on Monday morning. I think is when it's going to end, is at 4 a.m. But I do want to ask one thing. We have the Archer, which I hope to get, and I have Ancora, 2 champions. I have not summoned Ancora just yet, but I'm limited on books. So if you could only book one, let me turn this volume down just a little bit. I don't know if it's too loud for you guys, but if you could only book one, who are you booking? We have Archer, who's A1, gives damage. I don't really care that much about that. If I can miss that, that'd be fine. The A2 is requires 5 books. 5 books gives us buff and debuff chance, very, very important. It also gives us a cooldown reduction, which is super vital. And then her A3 is 3 books. So if you got lucky, it'd be 8 books total, which is not too bad, but I'm pretty limited. I could basically book one or the other. So 8 books for Archer, you get a very impactful A2, very impactful A3 as well, mostly the cooldown reduction, or Ancora. So Ancora specifically being used for like classic arena, live arena stuff. So her books, let's see where we get value from. Her A1, it's actually pretty good value. I mean, this goes to a 50% chance to place random allies or reduce the cooldown on a random ally skill, which is very solid. And then her A2 is a cooldown reduction, takes 2 books. Her A3, 2 cooldown reductions, both very impactful. And then her passive is a 3 cooldown reduction. So every book is pretty big impact, except for arguably this one there. So it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 books for Ancora. And then what was it? I say 8 books for, so it was 18 books total. I might be kind of close to being able to book both of them, but who would you book? Let me know. Archer or Ancora? I think I know who I would book. Probably Archer, making more of a significant impact, but it really depends on how much I use Ancora in the arena. Let's go ahead and talk about my points. Well, I already showed you guys, 99,000. Let's talk about the campaign farming, okay? So when I do campaign farming, personally, since I have the raid pass, which I've mentioned this in previous videos, if you are able to get it on the Google Play Store, you can get points, makes it a lot easier, but you do have to get it from a mobile device. The raid card gives you 20% extra XP, 20% extra silver, and the extra 70 multi-battles. I'm just doing it for this month. I'm not going to continue being subscribed to this, but what it allows you to do is on Nightmare Campaign, do one run, 12-6 is what we're going to do, and get a 1-star champion maxed out, which is so efficient for 1-star champions. Come in here, one time, you're done. West versus Brutal, I believe, is typically 2 runs or like 1 run and feed in some 1-star champions. But this is just so smooth. It's so nice. And this is what I've done so much. So during this event, I pushed up a lot. Initially, I dropped a bunch of brews into my champions, leveled them up, so on and so forth. And then from there, I've been opening a lot of mystery shards and basically working my 1-star champions up into higher stars. It's not the most energy efficient necessarily, but in doing this, unless I have to push a lot, I kind of keep in the back of my head, I'm going to set myself up for future champion training events while doing this champion training. But if I have to go hard here, I'll go ahead and dump brews into the 5-star champions I build up. But if not, I'm just going to throw those 5-star champions into the vault. So then future champion training tournaments, I'm going to be prepared for. Because right now, as far as the CC perks go, the 5-star chickens, I'm pretty empty on those. So I don't want to expose too much of my resources just yet. But I can go into that in a future video after this event's over. If you guys want to see that, I can talk about my budget. Though, to be honest, the budget that I had wasn't really spent on the resources so much for this. I did spend the budget, but it was spent on other things. So it didn't really go for this tournament exactly, but I can get into that if you guys are interested. So Ray, she is the farmer that I used, but check this out. There's several other champions you can use. I did this on the stream. I went through many options, but we have Sun Wukong. Now you'll see that I go to 3-star champions here. When it comes to doing a campaign, Nightmare specifically, I do 2 stars through Brutal. So I do 1 stars in Nightmare to get them maxed up, and I do 3 stars in Nightmare, but 2 stars I do in Brutal, because if you're doing Nightmare only, you will not be getting mystery shards, which you do need mystery shards, because if you're somebody who's pushing really hard, you're eventually going to run out of champions. You need mystery shards to get you more champions, so make sure you're doing some Brutal runs. Brutal 12-3 also gives you more silver from selling the shields. So I do 2-star champions on Brutal, and then 1 star and 3-star plus on Nightmare. This is during a champion training tournament. Now, outside champion training tournaments is where I do my, solo dungeon farming to actually get prepared for future champion training tournaments. Sun Wukong, he's a solid Nightmare campaign farmer. Now, the issue with him is that he is weak affinity, so you may see him struggle against a Kymar in this wave or the previous wave if he doesn't get a good hit. So there we go. We didn't kill him. He may get a weak hit and take a little bit longer, but 10 second farm is not bad at all. Now, I've seen him go up to like 22 seconds. I'll show you guys my build for him in just a moment. But Sun Wukong, excellent option. We have Herndig. A lot of players use him, but a 20-second farm, I believe. There we go. Herndig, awesome champion. We also have Georgid. Somebody in my recent comments said, hey, I'm glad you mentioned Georgid because I never even thought about him, but Georgid, super good champion for farming as well. He, for some reason, doesn't kill the Kymar always here, even though he's built pretty well. Don't know why he didn't kill him. I have no clue, because my Georgid hits pretty hard. But Georgid is a fantastic champion because of how his skills work. A3 kills somebody, and then he can go into an extra turn. Use the A2. So sometimes he goes faster than this. Let's do it one more time just to see how fast he can actually go. But Georgid, you have Ray, which she's going to be pretty gear demanding. You have Sun Wukong, you have Herndig, you have Biggin. I bet you Biggin could even do it as well. And then there's tons of different champions, but just some of the ones off the top of my head. And honestly, Sun Wukong is probably going to be one of the more accessible ones for most players, because if you've been playing for a while, you got him for free. So here we go. Let's check out the builds. Georgid is in Instinct plus Cruel, so good defense ignore. Good stats in general. There's no stat bonuses for campaign. Good attack, good crit damage. He's fast. Doesn't have to be that fast, though. Really just above 200, and you'll go twice per their 1 turn. About 210 is what I shoot for, minimum. Masteries is what we have. More defense ignore. Sun Wukong, defense ignore. We have everything fully booked. Lightning Cage. And then this build. So we have lethal plus speed. So giving him more speed. He has good speed. He has good crit damage. Pretty high attack, to be honest. But if you dropped it a little bit, it should be fine. Sun Wukong should be able to hold his own. And then my Ray, she's probably the least accessible because she's +4. She has Rathalos. This is a more, I guess, pay-to-win build. The only reason why I'm using her is because, well, she's probably my fastest farmer. I could possibly have faster ones, but she's the only one that I know of that's fast, and she's built, so I'm just using her. Maybe try one of your arena AoE damage dealers. They may actually work fine. Cupidus, I don't think Cupidus could do it, but could he? Kind of interested now to see. He's Spirit Affinity, so he's not going to be good against the magic ones, but okay, he opens with the A3. It's not great. Oh, another champion. Let me show you guys. So Cupidus may actually work fine, honestly, with Rathalos set. Possibly. We'll see. But there is one more, actually, I do want to mention. That is Eric's. So Cupidus, forget him. He doesn't work. But Eric's does work. Now, this Eric's is built for Spider 10 hard. Sorry. She's built for Spider 9 hard to solo that, which I'm doing right now because of Spider event. Tomorrow, I'll be doing some dragon content, which I would like to get a video out to you guys as soon as possible with a champion who can solo dragon 10 hard, just getting the consistency down before I share it, because I want to make sure it's safe. But this Eric's is the one I use for 9 hard. She's in Rathalos gear, which you do need for Spider. And she solos there, and she works on Nightmare campaign as well. Now, she does not have a 100% crit rate, which causes her to go a little bit slower in this. But if you're able to get her to 100% crit rate, she'd be better. So you have you have 2 free options with Sun Wukong and Eric's. Eric's is a login champion. Eventually, you'll get her. We have Cupidus, who is actually, forget him. I didn't even mention him. Forget I even talked about him. You have Georgid. You have him. Ray, an AoE damage dealer, so Biggin could probably work very similarly. Herndig works well. Trunda can probably even do fine. I've seen people talking about her using her throughout these battles. And then, let's see. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if my Heffra could do it. But Eric's build, if you bought the Rathalos set, it's too late now if you didn't buy it. But if you did, this champion can do it. So like I said, whenever I'm doing Nightmare farming, 1-star champions, 12-6, 1 run, they're done. And then 3 stars and up. 2 stars, I go back to Brutal, 12-3, more silver, more mystery shards, kind of keep that balance. Plus, I forget the runs, but I'm pretty sure the runs on Nightmare are a little bit more expensive for 2 stars versus for 3 stars. Now, a lot of people were asking me, like, is it worth it for me to do Nightmare? So with Nightmare, something to keep in mind is if you're doing Brutal at like 5 seconds with Fellhound, or really under 10 seconds with a champion, but your Nightmare runs are taking like a minute, That's ridiculous. Say it's like 30 seconds. It's taking 30 seconds and you don't have unlimited energy. You're kind of restrained by your energy. Nightmare farming is still fine, even though you're doing it slow, because you don't have your energy's not the problem. Like getting through the energy is not the problem or the time. It's just doing the stuff. If you have unlimited energy, you need to go as fast as you can. So then getting the best builds for your champions, doing as fast as you can, maybe even brutal, becomes something you need to watch out for more. Because if you have a 5-second brutal farmer versus a 20-second nightmare farmer, well, you have plenty of energy, or it's the very last moments of the tournament, you probably got to go with a 5-second brutal farmer just because you can get far more runs in during that time. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you guys follow along. But for me, this is the breakdown that I'm doing. This is what has been working well so far. I did do Eric's in 12-6, right? Let me make sure. I'm pretty sure I did 12-6. She does it at the same time. She did it at the same time before. So hopefully I did actually do that and didn't show you guys a brutal run instead, because I was on brutal when I clicked back just now. Got to watch that though, because brutal obviously is going to be easier. But she does work on nightmare. She is working on nightmare. Not even 100% crit rate. So there you go, guys. Getting these champions leveled up. Let's see if we're at 100,000 points yet. The Void Shard deal is not as good as yesterday. Yesterday wasn't even good though, to be honest. 100,000 points, 100,030. So second place. I hope he doesn't start pushing. Hopefully nobody else starts pushing. I don't see it happening. 36 hours. It would take a few hours. It took me about 6 hours to get, I think, 60,000 points. About. Maybe. No, it didn't. It took me less than that. I stopped at 75,000. So it took me a while to do that. So unless you're bursting a lot of points, it's going to take a while. But I can also climb. I opened up a lot of the Void Shards. If I don't have to use those champions for this event, I'm just going to use them for future champion training, ideally, and then bring them up and then start working on getting them over into my reserve vault. So those reserve vaults looking a little bit thin with the 5 stars. I got a lot of 6 stars left though. A lot of 6-star champions who can have potions, some brews dropped into them. So these are for future events. This is what I've been doing. Any 6-star champion. This is like very, very late game strategies, but champions who I don't need right now, I just throw them over here. 6-star champions. These are the new point containers basically. So I got several rows of those. I didn't actually go and do too many of them, to be honest. So next is going to be fill-ins with 5 stars and then just really waiting for the next champion training event. I was debating on if I even want to continue doing this, but I mean, it's a very efficient way to play, I'd say. So I am going to continue doing it. I am going to continue trying to prepare for the champion training tournaments in the future. So guys, with that said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Best of luck to you if you're going for the Archer. Let me know who you'd book, Archer or Ancora. Okay, Ancora, assuming you have Narses, which I do, and I did book him already. He is fully booked. So I've only booked 2 champions during this event. I saw some people saying that I used a lot of legendary books. I didn't. I used books for 2 champions. I booked out Narses and I booked out my Necmo. My brand new Necmo Thar, which is pretty sweet. But I used the books for him, which was pretty demanding. And then I booked Narses. So I picked up a few awesome Legos. Narses, Necmo, and soon to be the Archer. Be awesome. But guys, I will catch back up with you all tomorrow. Hopefully later in the day, later at night. I've been trying to take Sundays to just hang out with the family and all that kind of stuff. So I probably won't be on raid too much unless the second place person pushes. Then I'll have to come back down here and get on some raid stuff. But if not, guys, I'll see you all Monday morning for the stream finishing up this Archer event. I love you guys. I appreciate all of you, and I'll catch you all in the next video.